Hello everyone, thanks for joining this evening. We're going to be looking at the Astrocasts website during this session. And the thing that we accomplished in the last session on Astrocasts was working on email registration. User registration that also included email verification. That also involves setting up RabbitMQ for the first time for me, Symfony Messenger component, and sort of getting those things all up and running. So I'm pretty satisfied with where that is at this point, with the exception that we need to make it look more pretty, both on the front end and also on the emails that are generated. But I don't really want to work on that right now, so I'm going to hold off on that a little bit. The other thing I would like to do with the queues eventually is create event-specific message queue and create command-specific message queue. So I had some discussion with some people on Twitter about this. So I think, well, not about this specifically, but just about the Symfony Messenger component in general. So I think I'm going to head back to that probably on another day. But this is something that I do want to do. It works for now, but before I actually deploy this code out in the world, I kind of want to wait on it a little bit until I can configure things a little better. So that's kind of where we were. If we look at the site itself, it doesn't really look a whole lot different than what it has been in the recent past. The only new thing, of course, was this registration page. We'll just head there just to see what it looks like. And I'm actually logged in already. So let's see if I think I'm logged in as myself. So it's going to let me go here, and we have easy admin on the back end. So I haven't done a whole lot with this yet, but I think we're going to do a lot more with easy admin tonight. The reasoning being that I want to add a couple of extra models. So if we look at the next things on the list, I have this notion of project sessions. We already have video. And I think this is where we're going to start having some actual content created. The idea being that these live sessions are going to be grouped together in projects. So we can start posting the content that is being recorded so that you can find it on the website a little easier. Right now, the only real option for you, if you want to use the site, is to go to live sessions and actually, it's not even here. If we go to Astrocasts page, it has to bring the player up, and then you can see or visit one of these locations. If you go to YouTube, for example, you're going to get a list of the previously recorded content. It also says that it'll actually show you if something is live now. But it's not very friendly, so there is actually a ton of content already up, which is pretty awesome. But it's not organized very well, and if you look back here, these weren't even given interesting descriptions yet. I've been trying to do that a little more recently, so you can see that this one's actually about Tailwind CSS and Doctrine ORM, but the older episodes were just live session. So it's not super friendly to look at the content that's being generated. Most people are just excited to watch the live video, so I think that's probably what most people are doing anyway. But as I generate this content, I want to be able to organize it a little differently. So if I have some time at the end of the session, I'm going to start doing some more design things. So I've been working a little bit offline on coming up with a palette that I can use. I've also been trying to work on some layout and design for like navigation and being able to add additional pieces to the site. So this will actually account for, say, a register button and login, because right now there's only login or support. So these little bits and pieces I want to start pushing out once the content starts filling out a little bit more. So if we have time at the end of the session, I'm going to work on building a proper navigation. So we have the first pass at it. This would just make it look prettier. So I don't actually have I don't have a version of the projected DB schema anywhere but in my head and sketched. So I have some content sketched here. So I'm just going to work on this offline. So if you see me looking to the side, that's what I'm doing. I was going to try and use like ASCII flow or something to make a DB schema, to share with people visually, but I just didn't have the time to do that. So if we go back now to our video class, here we go, video. Video lives in the video table. We have a video ID, we have a title and a description. I think I'm going to keep those here for now. We have a published date, so this is going to be the date that the video was actually published. And then we have a Vimeo ID, which is just an integer that represents the recorded content that's been uploaded to Vimeo. What we're going to do is add a project. And so what a project is going to be is something like, so if the title here we have Astrocasts website, I'm going to change this to bootstrapping Astrocasts. So this is going to be the project. The one that I've been working on with that podcast will be rewriting that podcast. So that's going to be the project. And then with that project, there are going to be sessions. And that would be things like this. This is one of the sessions. So a session is going to have a project. It's going to have a video because it's going to be related to an actual video somewhere. I also have the session with a number. So session number 1, 2, 3, 4, and such. And then a scheduled date. Scheduled broadcast. Maybe I'll call it that. And then I think that was it. So this isn't something that people are going to see, but ideally what I'd like to have is on the home page, when I see that something is coming up, I'm going to go ahead and rerun app get calendar. So I need to run this locally to get local calendar information. What I'd like to do is have the ability to say whenever the next session is going to be. So it starts any second now. But I want to be able to match it to a video that I add, or a session that I add in advance, so that it can tell you what it's going to be about. So that's what I'm going to use that particular field for. Let's see what else we have. All right, so project itself, project's going to have a title, or no, have a name, description, and then there's a couple of other fields that I'm not sure if they're going to be virtual fields or actual fields that we're going to manage. So the important ones are going to be is completed and number of sessions. And then, of course, we already have video. So this already exists. Session will be 1-to-1 with the video. The project is going to be many sessions to one project. And we're going to have a unique key on project number. What else do we have here? I think those are the main things there. And then while we're doing this modeling, I'd also like to add an additional bit of information that we can start using, which will be for video progress, or let's call it just progress. And what this is going to be is a map between video and user. So we'll do user, video, and percentage, maybe. We'll have to look and see what we'll actually have access to there. And then user ID in video will be unique. Video. So this would be giving you the ability, once you've registered with the site and start watching a video, we can start tracking your progress on specific videos. I probably won't be able to build that sort of functionality for a little while yet, but we should, in theory, be able to start at least tracking the progress that you're making as you go through. So these are the models that we're going to need to create. So I think I'm just going to start out by creating these using the maker bundle. So we'll do bin console make entity. And I want to double check the options here. So I will create an API resource. So make entity, API resource, and let's do project. All right, so new property names. So what are the property names? We have name, description, is completed, and number of sessions. So name, string, is it nullable? No. Add another property. Yeah, so we'll do description. Let's do text. So field type text. Can this field be null in the database? Yes. And then let's go ahead and just add these. Well, no, I'm not going to. Never mind, I take it back. So I'm not going to do is completed. Actually, is completed probably should be, but not number of sessions. So we'll do is completed, Boolean, this field be null in the database, no, and then hit return. All right, cool. So we've actually created the project. So let's double check. Project, entity. All right, so we have API resource, API class, cool. Nullable, get name, it has a bunch of setters. Set is completed. I think that I maybe did this wrong. So this was probably just supposed to be completed. Is completed, completed. There we go. Not really sure what the conventions are supposed to be on there. So set completed. All right. All right, so this is pretty straight ahead. So I'm going to leave that like that. Let's go ahead and move now to session. Okay, session has a number. So we'll start with number. Integer. No, it cannot be. So let's do another property. We'll do project, relation. What class should this entity be related to? It should be related to project. And then which type? So on session, it should be many to one to project. Each project can relate to many sessions. Is the session project property allowed to be null? No. And do you want to add a new property to project so that you can access update session? Yes, why not? All right, so we've done session, or we've done project. Now we need to do video. And for video, if a session may change from one project to another, answer no. Oh. Okay, so this wasn't actually, I made a mistake there. Awesome. All right, so I jumped ahead. This should actually not have been video. So do you want to automatically delete orphaned sessions? I think I'm just going to say yes, because I don't think we already said that you can't be null. So, all right, so it updated both entity session and entity project. Now add another property. Yes, I'm going to add video. It's going to be a relation. It's going to be to the video class. And it is going to be, I think it's going to be one-to-one, right? Yeah, because we only have, a video should only be in one session ever. So we'll do 1 to 1. Is session video property allowed to be null? No, I don't think so. Do you want to add a property to video so that you can access update sessions? Yes. Name the field inside video. We'll just call it session. Add another property. So we already did number. Let's do scheduled broadcast. Scheduled broadcast. Field type date time. Can it be null in the database? Yes. And enter the property name. Nope, no other property, so we'll let that go. So what we need to do now is go back into project because we now have a video field, which isn't what we should have. So let's see, add video. Let's see, how many instances of video do we have? Remove video. Construct videos, new array collection, get video. Yeah, so what I need to do is just rename all instances of video to session and preserve case, replace all. So I think that's what we needed because, actually no. Let's replace videos with sessions. But here we need it to be singular. So session, there we go. Session get project, unless it's already changed. All right. So I think that actually fixes everything for us. So, oh, no, we have to do it here also. There we go. It's interesting how complete the maker bundles entity creation stuff is. That's actually pretty nice if you're into that sort of thing. All right, so now we've done session. Let's go ahead and create progress while we're here. So let's do make progress. All right, new property name. We're going to do user. User is a reserved word. That's not fun. I've actually used user elsewhere, so I would have thought I could do that. All right, let's not do this now. Let's go back and double check on session here, because session we need to make sure that there's a unique constraint. So let's go back to session. Unique. ORM. Unique constraint. It's on the table. All right, so unique constraints. That's actually, it seems a lot more annoying and complicated than I thought it was supposed to be. Unique entity. Suppose you have a user entity that has an email field. You can use the unique entity constraint to guarantee that the email field remains unique between all constraints in your user table. Doesn't provide any protection against race conditions. Fields. post import. So yeah. All right, let's try this one. Now that's a validator. All right, maybe this is the way I need to go. Not super happy about it, but this just looks more complicated than it needs to be. So this is inside table. Let's see, unique constraints. Close that, and that. And we still need to bring this in, so we'll do... I don't want to give it a name. Let's see if I don't have to. And then we'll do user... Oh, project and video. So project and video. Let's see if this works. There was no unique on project, just on session. Okay, let's go ahead and run our migration after I at least stash a bunch of this stuff. So see where we're at. All right, so not stash, at least add it so that I can easily see when things break here. Bin console. Migrations, diff, column name ID reference for relation from session toward entity video does not exist. Did we do something weird with video? Video ID project is just... Yeah, so this was actually, it generated ID. So since we're doing things different, of course it's going to be odd. So inversed by many to one. Let's see, where's it complaining? From session to video. So session, video, inversed by session. So let's look at one-to-one. I think mapped by might be what we're looking for here. So target entity inversed by the inverse by is the field on the entity that is the inverse side of the relationship. This is actually more complicated than I thought it was going to be. So we actually need to have video ID on session. This actually needs to be column type GUID. think originally I had given it something else. We need join column, customer ID, reference caller name. This is where we need video ID. So what this, I think, is doing is telling the session that it's referencing the videos. So video here, referencing by the video ID column name. It's unclear if I have to do the camel case video ID or the video underscore ID. I think I might have to do video underscore ID, but let's see what happens here. Yeah, there's no column with name project on table session. All right, so we're still in session, project, inverse, here, inversed by session. So there's another place where the, I typed video instead of session, but that's actually sessions. There we go. Let's see if this works now. There's no column with name project on table session. Okay. I wonder if this isn't actually creating things the way I would expect it to. So these join columns, it's specifying the join columns, video ID. It's not specifying that it actually needs to be a column itself, which is odd. I don't know if that's it could be a bug in Maker Bundle. With the entity generation stuff. All right, so remember to drop this. So it's created progress, or it's dropping progress, session, and project. So those are the new tables we've created. I don't know if it's actually doing anything with progress. So we might drop that for now. Let's get rid of progress and progress here. There's no point in creating a table that looks just like that. So we're creating the session table. It has an ID, number, int not null, project, int not null, video is a UUID not null, time zone default null. All right, primary key is ID, index is unique on session, and project ID. All right, I think these are cool. But this does remind me that, I guess it doesn't matter for right now, but I would like to use UUIDs for the primary keys instead of integers at some point. But here, I don't think I'm going to worry about it too much. I'm just going to leave it go. So I'm going to see what happens if we actually migrate this. See if it works okay. Cool. All right, so it actually created stuff. If we go back to our objects, we now have session, project, video. Video was already there, but we now have session and project. So that's good. Let's go ahead and add this. Add these changes. So yeah, these were the things that needed to be added. So Maker Bundle didn't necessarily work as advertised. And I'm not sure why, but I guess it is what it is. 1 second here. gonna add these changes and call that good for now. So we have these new fields. Now we need to actually do something useful with them. We're going to go to the Easy Admin bundle and start adding entities. So we're going to add entity video. That was already there. We're going to add project and then session. We're not going to configure them at all yet. We're just going to see what happens if we just go there. All right. Exception, no mapping found for field video and class session. That sure messed me up. Video. So no mapping found for field video on class session. Private video. First by session. Yeah, it's there. So I'm going to go into, oh, this isn't session. Ow. So target entity is video, inverse by session, type GUID, referenced column name is video ID. Let's see here. So we have project, we have video. Let's go back to our thing here. So let's see, we have session. Where's that at? Session. Okay, ID int not null, number. Project int not null. Video UUID not null. Some more statements. So project, the association for sessions refers to the owning side field of app entity session project, which is not defined as an association, but as a field. So I think I probably fixed these incorrectly. So let's go ahead and okay. Actually, let me delete the database. Let's do Doctrine. And that's going to block until I drop this. We've got a funny guy in chat here asking, have you tried running artisan solve : all my problems? No, I have not. All right, database Astrocasts is being accessed by others. Still though? Does Valet restart? Does Valet restart count? I think it might. Three other sessions using the database. Maybe this one counts as well. All right, if this doesn't work, then I'm just going to, actually, it still says 3 other sessions, which just doesn't make sense to me. So I'm going, oh, huh. Can I delete this? Delete the schema public. Oh, let's see here. Stopping Postgres. And let's start it again. There we go. When in doubt, just shut it all down. Oh. All right, so the things that I did to try and fix this apparently were things that were going to break things later. So let's go ahead and get rid of this most recent migration. I think it's this one. All right, so we don't want that mucking things up for us. So let's go back to session now. And so it didn't create these columns, apparently, as it wasn't supposed to. And I know that now. I thought I was smarter than Doctrine, and that's usually going to get me in trouble. Let's go ahead and Doctrine migration diff. All right, so there's no column with name project on table session. I know, that's what I was trying to fix. So this is creating project, join column. See if this gives me anything else to work with. Probably not. Column does not exist. Create index, add unique. Could be this. And I think I actually mentioned that earlier. Maybe that these needed to be. It's hard to know when things need to be camel capsed. So reference column name, for example. I think this might actually need to be video underscore ID, but it isn't complaining, so I'm going to see what happens here. Okay, so this actually worked. Let's just pop into the editor to find this. There we go. So we're gonna, oof. Ow. No. What happened is I didn't migrate, so it created a migration for all the migrations, everything that needs to happen. So let's remove that. And so So we need to actually get up to current. All right, now we do the diff, which we don't need to do super verbose. And now we'll open this file. All right, now it's a little more reasonable. So again, we drop this first one. Alter table session drop constraint. Okay. We don't need progress. We don't need progress. We have another progress. Okay, so create sequence session ID, create sequence project ID. So this makes sense. So session, project ID not null, video ID not null, video ID, yeah, it's UUID, integer timestamp. All right, creating an index on session for project ID. Wonder why, if we need that. Creating a unique index on session for video ID. I think that makes sense. I think we said that actually. Session video. No. Let's go back here. So we have on session an index only on project, but a unique index on video. And I wonder if that's because, I think that's a byproduct of video being a one-to-one relationship. So there shouldn't be multiple videos on session. So this is the database enforcing the one-to-one aspect of it. And then it's creating a unique index on project ID and video ID. So I think that makes sense. Create project. So this is ID, name, description, completed with primary key. And then we're creating a foreign key constraint on session for project ID and video ID, referencing project.id and video.video ID. Okay, so I think that all makes sense. So I'm going to go ahead and run this migration. And see if, video ID referenced in foreign key. All right, so this is another case where it's not until you actually run it that you find out that Doctrine had other things in mind. So let's go ahead. Let's go back here. So this is actually video ID. Let's try to restart our server again. Stop, start. All right. All right, we want to remove the newest migration. We want to do a migration. All right, and then see if we have one more pass here. So persist, remove, and versify video ID. Okay, I think that's all gonna work. So let's do a diff again and take a look at the diff. Progress, move progress. Progress, move progress. All right, so foreign key, video ID, references video ID. I think that was the one that we were looking at. So yeah, this was reference column name was video ID. I think what we had previously was this was referencing video ID. And that was the thing that was wrong. So let me try one more time to run the migration. Cool. So now everything's hopefully working. Let's go ahead and go back to easy admin bundle. Okay, awesome. So we have video, project, and session. So I'm going to go to project. I'm going to try and add a new project. So we'll do bootstrapping Astrocasts. No results found for session, so I'm not going to add any session just yet. Redirecting, cool. So it's not completed. That's kind of cool. It's got a little Boolean thing out of the gate. So I have a video. No, so let's add a video first. Let's do Astrocast live session 8. Working on Astrocast with easy admin. Publish date, leave empty. Yeah, I think so. I'm fine with that. Vimeo ID. Let's see what we have. So this is the ID for session 9. No session there. All right, so we have a video and we have a session. The thing I'm not sure about is how we can create a new session. I don't think there's a way to do that. So that's something I'll have to look in Easy Bundle later. It's going to be annoying to have to create these separately, but as long as it works, I'll be happy. So the session, so I'm going to do, entity project could not be converted to a string. Entity project. And why would you try to do that? All right, so let's go to session project. Why would it try to convert that to a string? Does it say where? Create choice label. Yeah, Joe's saying converting models to strings, LOL. I guess it makes sense. I guess. Let's look for this. Easy admin bundle. Let's see. Might just be that we have to specify toString, which I guess. Method in your according to Symfony, you should use choice level property to specify the entity field. All right, so this is where the auto magic stuff starts to fall down, I guess. So the easiest thing to do is just to implement toString. Probably going to have to do the same thing with video as well. So we'll do, well, let's do toString. So Joe's asking, what's the 10-second overview of what you're doing right now? What we want to do is be able to do something with the content that's being created. So just a real quick test, because it makes sense to go through this. Right now, the only way people can really consume Astrocasts is to go to the homepage, watch the live video when it comes up. If you happen to be watching on Twitch, YouTube, or Facebook, then you'll also notice that there are archives. So if you look at here, you can see there's 22 videos worth of content on my page. If you look at the Astrocast page on YouTube, you can see that there's a stream happening now, but you can also look at all of the previously, whoa, Wow. It's not very often I see YouTube error messages. That's awesome. No, don't translate the page. I don't know what's going on. Did I break something? Did I break the internet? Wow. Anyway, the point is, right now there's not a lot of ways to consume this content that's already been created. So what I really like to do is make it easier to consume the recorded content. So if I go to Vimeo, I actually have a good chunk of the episodes that are uploaded here. Let me go to videos. And I want to actually make them able to, I want to make it so that we can watch these in a more curated fashion on Astrocasts itself. The design that I'll be working on later, hopefully, is going to provide some like more proper navigation to try to find things. So I want to be able to browse the existing projects. The live sessions at this point are actually broken down into things like bootstrapping Astrocasts, and if you're watching the other thread, it's actually that podcast rewrite. So I want to have projects that are going to be live sessions that will be able to be easy to navigate. So what we're getting to now is hooking up the videos that we already have. If I go to, let's see here, Astrocast test. If I go to live sessions, we already have some basic work done for the live sessions. So I've only added one to this this dev instance. If I click on it, you can actually go see this video if I'd actually made it public. So this stuff's there. It's not very well organized. This would be just barely a step above just being able to look through YouTube. So what I want to do is provide that extra layer of things. So that's why I'm adding the projects and the sessions. Okay, so the toString for project is just going to be the name. I think that's all we really need here. I'll do get name. And I think this is because it's building the items in the drop-down list. So I'm guessing as soon as I do this, it's going to give me the same problem with video. And so it is. So let's go to video. And we're going to do the same thing. So I'm going to do title for the video. toString. So this is going to hopefully allow me to create my first session. Cool. So session number 1, scheduled broadcast. What this is going to be for is scheduling things in the future. Kind of went over this a little bit ago, but if we look at the upcoming episodes, so if I go to here, it says next session starts an hour ago. I want to be able to set up the sessions in advance and give them a title, a description, and all of that information so that rather than just seeing a session is coming up, you'll have an idea of what it's going to be. I don't always know exactly what I'm going to be doing on each episode, but I usually have an idea of at least the project that's going to be. So I might be able to temporarily say to be discussed, that sort of thing. If we look at twitch.tv, the other thing that I'd like to automate is this information. So right now, I have to go in and modify this every time before the episode starts. This tag actually disappears like once a day. So I want to be able to automatically populate those things as they come up. So if I have all that information and I can tie that to a scheduled broadcast time, if I finish the Twitch integration that has been pushed way to the bottom, in theory, I should be able to, as the event is coming up, I should be able to update it with the title. I could update it throughout the episode if I need to. So yeah, that's what the scheduled broadcast is going to be for, but I'm going to leave it off for now. So I'm going to say video. So what this is doing is listing the videos. So just before I try this, I'm going to add a couple of other videos. So we'll do Astrocast live session. No, we'll do Tailwind and Easy Admin fun. Leave the description empty, video ID, I'll just do 100. And then session is going to be none. I'm not going to set that here. So if I go now to session, so it's going to say Astrocast session 8, but now it actually shows the other video as well. So I get to choose which one I want. So I'm going to say bootstrapping Astrocast, Astrocast live session 8 is going to be episode number 1. And then I'm going to do episode number 2 is going to be Tailwind and Easy Admin Fun. So in theory, I should be able to do something with these. If I look at the video, if I look at one of these, it's actually showing you the description and it has links back to the sessions. So I can see that this was session 1. It doesn't actually show me that it's which project it is associated with, but that's something I could probably do later. So what we can do now is start hacking out some weird UI stuff. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. Looks like I see something on Twitter. Let's see what I've got here. I was working on file uploads earlier today with the with one of the Easy Admin integration bundles. And someone was asking about that on Twitter. So that was a fun one to work on. We'll have to be doing that pretty soon. Well, it's like Joe says, there's a worldwide outage on YouTube right now. And Weird UI Stuff is my stage name for my 80s punk cover band. Nice. Okay, so let's go ahead and just get started. I'll sketch out some of the stuff just in our thing here. So we got registration, project session, video. So we got all of this stuff done, except for number of sessions. But I'm just going to ignore that for now. All of these things. Video. We didn't do progress, so I'm going to leave that on here. So we'll say here, here, here. Good to go. Bump this back and then add a new bit here for live sessions, ... So we're going to do some more interesting things with live sessions. So if we go to live sessions controller, so far we have just the root live sessions. The things that I want to start showing on here aren't the videos, so that's already going to be there. Let's go see. This looks for live sessions.html.twig. So next session starts if videos is empty. I'm just going to remove this. Yeah, I'm going to remove this because I don't think we're going to reuse any of that. We haven't really lost much at this point. So the things that I want to put on here, let's do H2, live now. So this is going to be a way to see the live now stuff once it's actually going. I'm going to do another section for recent sessions, current projects, and completed projects. And each one of these is going to have a separate page, but the pages are all going to be very similar to each other. So we'll probably reuse the same template. So live sessions, so live now, recent sessions, current projects, and completed projects. So if we go back here, we need to send those. So we'll do so it's recent, current, completed. Recent sessions, current projects, and completed projects. All right. So these are going to be empty out of the box. We're going to need well, we don't need video repository anymore. Instead, we're going to want the other repositories. So we're going to say, I'm actually going to make these constructor injected. So we'll do private session repository, project repository. So the maker bundle actually created these for us, these repository starters. Project repository and calendar events. I'm not going to take that because I think this is the only function that's actually going to use those. We'll try to get rid of these, get rid of this. And then create a constructor. Let's make sure it didn't break something. All right, cool. So let's go into sessions repository. Session repository, there we go. All right, so by default, it just gets the service entity repository. For the sessions, we want recent sessions. And if we look at the date on the sessions, let's see what we have. I'm going to open another tab just with admin. So I think I made some of these able to be nullable, which is going to make things a little more complicated. And I might need to remove that restriction. So video published date. Nice. All right, let's go to our session. Session class. And we're going to need to do the same sort of thing here. So we're going to do implement toString, and let's do all right, let's do this get project. We're going to treat its toString method, and then we'll do this get number. There we go. Cool. So session is bootstrapping Astrocast session 1, and then bootstrapping Astrocast session 2. So it's using the same sort of logic to build that, but it's a little more complicated than just the video on its own. So I have the publish date empty. I wish I could do, let's do October 1st of 2018. And then let's do Tailwind, it's fun and easy. This is session 2. So let's put this on October 15th, 2018. And while we're at it, let's not name this Astrocasts Live. We'll say Symfony Flex. Save changes. That way it just doesn't look confusing. So in theory, we want one of these before the other. This is displaying this number in a weird way. Set me back a minute. Okay, so let's get back to session repository. So we want to get the most recent sessions. So do public function find most recent sessions. And let's see what we got here. So mostly want to worry about order by. So let's do create query builder. And this is going to return multiple objects. So get result is going to get multiple objects. Or null, or not null, or an empty array, I believe. So let's do create query builder for S. We don't have any parameters that we want at all. We just want to order by the, let's see, published, what did we call it? Oh, actually we want to order by s.video.published. So we go into video, what do we call that? Publish date? State, yeah. And actually it might do some published date. Let's see if we can do that. So go to live sessions, recent sessions, this session repository, find most recent sessions. There we go. Let's see how bad this breaks. Get query, get results. Your publish date, app entity session has no field or association name video.publish date. All right. This will be fun, learning about Doctrine query language again. Relations. Create query builder. Try message that replies. All right, so join. So we have alias, so we're going to join s.video as video. Order by video, or order by v.publish date. All right, let's see if that works. Cool. All right, so at least it's giving us something. What's this little deprecation? Oh, it's not something I need to worry about right now. All right, so we're actually, in theory, getting most recent sessions. So let's go ahead and go to here, recent sessions, for session in recent sessions. Session.video.title. No, yeah. Let's see if that works. Cool. So the one at the top is starting out with Symfony Flex, and Tailwind and Easy Admin Fun is second. So it looks like these are being sorted by publish date in reverse. So I think I want to do descending by default. Yeah, so Tailwind, Easy. So this is the most recent episode. So that's what we would actually want to see. Recent sessions. Okay, cool. So recent sessions looks like it's actually working. I'm going to make these linkable now. So it's going to make things a little more complicated. So we have gonna do, we need to do a slug, I think, because what I'd like to have are things like let's do URLs. So live sessions slash current projects slash completed projects, and then just live session projects. And then live sessions projects project slug. And then we'd want video session. So if we have this information, we should be able to get all of what we need. So an example would be live sessions projects, bootstrapping, Astrocasts, session 1 is something that should work. Same with session 2. So if we get this going by the end of the day, I think I'll be pretty happy, even if we don't end up getting to the CSS stuff that I was hoping for. Because at least this would be a good starting point for actually being able to consider publishing this code. These are maybe not as important. There we go. These might not be quite as important to get, but I think this will just be a lot of repeated code, so it probably won't be too fast or too bad to actually get that up and running. All right, so we have sessions already. Well, we're going to do something similar to this for the project repository. Project repository. All right, so find completed. Do P. Completed. There we go. So we'll do. So we don't actually have this notion of a closed date on our project. So that's something we might need to add. Do we have a date here? No. So this is completed. I guess we could sort by. We could still sort by video publish date. Let's go over here and say join. Let's see, what's the first field? It's the actual join. Stop video. Okay, so join p dot sessions. Alias as s, and then join yeah, I think that will work. Go back to live sessions, current projects, and we'll do this session. Let's see if that does anything. So we actually want to say, we actually do want to do a check here. So where p dot completed is equal to required parameter alias is missing. Where? Oh, V, there we go. So find recently completed projects. So this should actually work. Let's see. No. Undefined method. Oh, this is the session repository. We need a project repository. All right, so it's at least rendering correctly, which is awesome. And current projects then would be similar, except it's just going to be find current projects. So it's going to be exactly the same query builder function, except the check here is going to be false. Find current. All right, see here. All right, that's all good. So let's go to our template. Project, current projects. Project.name. I think it's project.name. And we'll do the same thing for completed projects. All right, so it only came up with one for current projects. It's interesting. Oh, we only have one project. So that makes sense. So let's go ahead and create another project. We'll call it the first old one. We'll say this one's completed. All right, and let's see now. Completed projects. Okay, so we need to actually do left joins here, I think, and this is actually going to spotlight why we shouldn't be relying on videos, because there are no videos. So I'm going to see what happens if I do left join here. So I think it'll work, but it's really going to be treating it as if it doesn't have a date at all. Oh, still not doing it. All right, so where is completed is false. Did I switch it correctly? Completed projects is coming up empty regardless. Project in oh, you know what? I have them backwards. Current projects actually worked. I'm not sure how I did that. So find current projects. So that one's working. So I need completed projects, which is actually up here. And did I reverse them? Current, completed, current. Yeah. So I think this is actually the one that I need to start tweaking, or potentially change to left join. There we go. So now we have it. The problem is that it's going to be sorting based on essentially null for the published date value because there were no videos in there. But I don't know if I'm going to worry about that right now. Because the chances of us having a completed project without any videos in it are pretty small. Okay, so Tailwinds, easy admin fun. Okay. So we can do some fun things now here where this session can be from project.title, project.name, session.number. Actually, we need session.project.name. Oh, session. There we go. So bootstrapping Astrocast session 2, Tailwind and Easy Admin Fun, and bootstrapping Astrocast session 1, starting out with Symfony Flex. So those are showing up, maybe not nearly as pretty as I would like, but it's actually getting us to the right idea for what we want to show. We actually want to see this as the title of this specific session, and then we also want to see which projects it's a part of. And we're also able to see that the session stuff is working in there as well. All right, so I think I need to do slugs, which I'm not entirely excited about. Let's see if there's a Doctrine ORM slug. I feel like there's, yeah, Doctrine extensions, sluggable. Yeah, this hasn't been updated in a while. So I can't tell if this is deprecated or not. But 2013, that's old. I kind of want to see what this extension was doing. Let's see, sluggable, listener. Ugh. Extensions 3.0. Common library. Looking for maintainers. Is this a newer version? Bundle provides integration for Symfony project. I think maybe I'm just going to try to do this the old-fashioned way and see how much trouble it gets me into. So we'll do, we're going to need to do this for project for sure. I'm going to add a new column called slug. And we are going to make this a string. And when we set name, yeah, so this is where it gets fun, I guess. That's not what I want. Slugify. Require. I guess it doesn't. It looks like it's doing. Remove special characters from a string. Provides custom replacements. All right, so this is probably nowhere near the right way to be doing this, but I did say I was going to try and be a little more pragmatic on this. And by pragmatic, I hadn't really meant this, but I am going to do it anyway. Composer require. All right, let's see what we got. Yeah. Okay. So let's just do this right here. Slugify. Index faster. There we go. New slugify. This slug equals slugify. Slugify name. Yeah, because this is good, right? Let's go ahead and make a new migration. And then check that out, see what it looks like, and clean up the mess. Get rid of progress. So add slug varchar not null. I'm going to remove this because we need to do more work on this already. RM. Because we want to make the project slug unique. So unique, where was I doing that before? I think I did it on session. Unique equals true. There we go. Let's try this again. All right, so it does create a unique index on project slug, so that would be unique. Remove that, remove progress. All right, so let's actually do the diff. It's going to give me errors because we have two projects. Yeah. So let's do this first. Okay. There we go. Didn't really fix the problem, but we'll just pretend it did. Okay, so if I go into here and go to projects, edit, either property, get slug. I need my getters and setters because getters and setters are awesome. Hey Joe, looks like I didn't see this in chat earlier, my bad. Looks like Darnie asked in chat, how did you learn to code? A lot of hacking. I actually did a lot of shell scripts back in the day. So my very first script that I actually ran was on a Unix system. And it did work with Finger so that I could find out on all of the remote hosts at various universities where people were online so that I could do YTalk with people. So it was like a buddy list back in the day. I think it was like 1994-ish. So I did a lot of complex shell scripts before I started to figure out how to do actual code and things like that. What's your coding experience been like? Are you just learning? Have you been learning for a while? Thanks for helping remind me about that, Joe. Let's see here. Where are we at? So we've migrated. Okay, so I'm going to go into here and see get slug must be of type string, null returned. All right, so I need to make that string. Let's get string. There we go. So slug is required, and it's automatically going to be set if I do the first old one. So I'm going to change this casing just so that it forces the slug to be written. Oh, please fill out this field. Okay. So the first old one, slug is ASDF. So that didn't work out as planned. Probably because it actually set its own value. No. All right, so this easy way isn't going to cut it, unfortunately. But while we're here, let's go ahead and get an actual slug for bootstrapping Astrocasts too. Slug. So it actually has a value. So now we can remove this requirement, and in theory, we'd be able to migrate everything safely. So we actually have to do a doctrine listener, which I'm not terribly excited about. But it does mean that we can get rid of this ugly hack of doing this right here. So let's go back to let's go back to the console. Help make, I think it was subscriber. All right, so exception subscriber. Let's call this project slug subscriber. And which things do I want to listen to? Oh, I don't even know if I can use these. I don't know if I can use those because they're doctrine events. So I need to register those differently. Symfony flex doctrine event. Yeah, that's not fun. creating the listener class. Doctrine event subscriber must implement event subscriber. Lazy loading. What's the difference between a listener and a subscriber? Event implement. I think it's just that it's easier to create. So event subscriber versus listener. Design ones that are meant to dispatchers, different events. You can change the events. All right, so let's go ahead and do listener, because those look like they're probably more simple. All right. I guess I'll just create these then. Oh. All right, so event listener. Create project slug. What's their convention here? Project slugifier. All right, let's do that. And we need to, oh, we actually don't have to do any type of class, which is kind of nice, I guess. Post persist. Oh, okay, so this might be the thing that will make me want to do one over the other. This requires specifying tags to tell it explicitly what to do, whereas if I have a subscriber class, I don't have to do that. So I think I might want to do that instead. So event listener. So let's do event subscriber. Yeah, implements event subscriber. All right. Implement methods. So what this is going to allow me to do is wire these up automatically, which is the thing that I like to do. Let's see what events I have access to. User. That's not what I was looking for. Doctrine events. Here we go. Naming convention, lifecycle events. Okay, so post remove, pre-persist. The pre-persist event occurs for a given entity before the persist option for that entity is executed. It should be noted that this event is triggered on initial persist. Okay, so that's good to know. Post update, post load, pre-flush that occurs at the very beginning of a flush operation. On flush occurs after the change sets of all managed entities are computed. This event is not a lifecycle callback. Okay, so pre-update. So I'm gonna guess that I can do this on pre-flush. We'll see if that works, if I'm able to do things there, because it doesn't look like event constants. All right, so get subscribed events, return pre-flush. Does it actually give a callback for those or no? I think it might just okay, yeah, then we actually have to use the right name. So pre-flush, and then post persist, post update. Actually, this is pretty much exactly what I need to do. So let's just do that. Oh, I was wondering if that was what I would need to do, because post persist apparently only happens the first time, post update happens later. And what these are doing is just saying, in both cases, call the same code. So I think this is what I need to do. Okay, lifecycle event. Doctrine less than doctrine common persistence. That's what we want. All right. I don't want to call this index. Let's call this slugify. That makes more sense. Do refactor. All right, so entity instance of project. Return. Otherwise, we do the work. So entity at this point is going to be a project. So we can do entity set slug to slugify. We don't need to do anything with the entity manager, I don't think. Subtitle name. There we go. We're just going to copy this code directly in, because that's just going to be the quickest way to do it. We no longer need this here. It's slightly less ugly. So set slug, slugify name. But we're going to do this. No, we have to ask the objects. We'll do entity get name. And really, I'm actually going to change this to be up here. So we'll do private slugify. Make it a slugify type. Add it in the constructor. And this. So now we're actually doing proper DI with this, which makes sense. So anytime we get one of these, either post persist or post update, we are going to try and set the slug to whatever the slug version of the name is for the project. So as long as the project name doesn't change, the URL should remain stable. It's not perfect, but it is a good start, I think. All right, so this isn't actually going to do anything, if I understand correctly. I'm going to go into the project. I'm going to edit the project. I'm going to just put a dot here. and I don't think it'll have done anything at all because it's not actually listening. So I'm going to go now into our services. This is the first time we've had to do services in quite a while, which is actually pretty awesome for me. So what we want to do is make the application aware that we now have Doctrine event listeners, but we want to do it in such a way that we don't have to put each individual item in there. So let's go here, say app, let's see, it's event listener, and we're going to tell it it's a PSR4 resource directory. So source event listener. And so this is saying anything inside the resource directory of source event listener, the following things will pertain to it. So let's do default. So we want, the default is auto wiring will be true, auto configure will be true, and public will be false, which I think is fine. So if we do that, we need to tag it, I believe. How do we register lazy loading for event listeners? No, we did a subscriber though, creating a subscriber class. Maybe that's all we have to do. Symfony tag Doctrine subscriber. There we go. For details in creating this, all right, I'm going to not put this in at first and see if it works now that this is added here, because it's possible it's already going to let these go through. So let's go to edit this to add another bit. All right, so that didn't do it. So now I'm going to manually add the tag. Tags. There we go. Now let's see if this fires it. So if we get an error, that'll be good. Oh, hey, I cannot auto-wire service project slugifier. Okay, so it looks like it's working. This tag actually got picked up, which is awesome. So let's go here and slugify. Let's see where it's complaining. References class, concur, slugify, but no such service exists. Is this not a class? It is, so why did it not? See here, so exclude all of those. Auto wire true, auto configure true. Why is it not able to find that? So, no such server exists. Looks like it doesn't have auto wiring. Oh. I wonder if I have to do that. I don't know if that's going to matter. No. It almost looks like auto wiring isn't enabled here, but I don't know why that would be. So let's do auto wire true. That's not what I wanted. Okay, so why can't it do that? Class concur, slugify. Oh, that's the wrong file. This shouldn't matter. Did you create a class that implements this interface? This is supposed to just work. Let's see here. So excludes these. Creates a service per class whose ID is the fully qualified class name. Oh, no, it still shouldn't matter, but maybe it does. I think this is the first time I've used a class elsewhere. All right, so let's try this. Let's just add it. I think that might fix it. No, you should maybe alias this interface. Okay, so I don't remember how to do that exactly. Symfony for alias. So alias at PHP mailer. So here's the actual service. So that would be the mailer's an alias for that. So the interface should be an alias. Let's see if that works. Okay, so now we still need to have the actual class defined. Cool. All right, so let's see here. Edit. So it didn't do anything. Awesome. Let's do project slugifier. Instance, not a project, so let's go. Okay, so I did the first old one. So I did rename it. Let's see if it actually set it. It still says ASDF. Is this cached? do something. Args get object manager. I guess let's get that. Maybe I need to persist it again. Object manager. Event change entity. ORM pre-persist. Okay. That's actually interesting. It's persisting after pre-update within post-flush. Pre-persist. To the current date. So that's pre-persist. Good night, Joe. Looks like you're checking out on chat, which is awesome. Thanks for joining tonight. Let's see, I'm doing post-persist, post-update. Let's try to do pre-persist and pre-update. It's possible I need to do these earlier in the life cycle. Oop. Oops, all right, syntax error, that's always fun. All right, let's see if it changed it. Yay! All right, so it did change it. So the first old one, again. Cool, so it looks like it's changing that one. All right, cool. It looks like reading the lifecycle methods, I could maybe do this without actually, looks like I could probably do this using annotations, but I don't think that's necessarily what I want to do here because because I still like the idea of having the Slugify stuff handled outside since it's depending on something. So let's go ahead and go back. Let's create a brand new project and see if everything works right. Get slug must be a type string. Null returned. Get slug. Name. Oh, and slug's required. That's interesting. But it shouldn't matter. I can set it to anything. So let's do let's skipper. Slug is going to be ASDF. Save changes. All right, let's look at mud skipper, and now it has the right slug. So I had to set a slug value, but it did a nice job of changing it. So I think I'm okay with that for now. If I look here, we now see two current projects. Mud skipper is at the top because it doesn't have any videos yet. I think that's what's going to go on there. All right, so let's go back here and see how quickly we can get the rest of this out. For specific projects, we want to have a URL that says live sessions projects, project slug. So let's create a new controller. I'm not going to use the console command to do this. Let's do a program controller. So we have already live sessions. So let's do new class. We'll call it our project controller. And let's see here. We'll go ahead and extend abstract controller as well. All right. And we want to say, we'll do show for now. And that will bring up our templates. Let's go to templates. Project, actually, let twig. And we'll look at live sessions again and copy most of this. So we've got a body. We'll call it project twig. And let's do, we can't do anything here just yet. So for the project controller, for all of them, or at least for this one, I'm not going to get too far into it in case we don't have more here. So we'll do show, we'll do project repository, and we can do, actually we probably don't need that just yet. Let's head first to the routing. So let's go copy this. And so what we had talked about doing here was live sessions project slug. So let's do that. We'll call this project. And we need to change this to something more useful like project here. And bring in routes. Which route is that again? Routing component. All right. Param converter Symfony. All right, so what we can do is specify this right here. And we should just be able to get the value out correctly. So if we have block ID blocks slug from a 1 by where the slug property matches slug. All right, so let's just do that. So let's do show $, do post. No, we're doing project, and we just need to call this now slug, and it's going to know what to do. At least that's what it says. Then we'll do project. So we don't actually have to do anything ourselves. The framework itself is going to get this for us. So let's go back here. So we have the Mud Skipper project. Let's see if this works. So live sessions, projects, Mud Skipper. Okay, attempted to call an undefined method named view. Okay, so that's actually something else, which is great. So it's a render. Render, which means we got that far, which is great. Cool. And now if I look up here, we can see that the title does indeed say Mud Skipper as the first part because that's the name of the project. So we can now go back to live sessions. Let's look for current projects and let's make these clickable. So a path project, and we'll do slug project.slug. Let's see if that works. All right, so these are clickable. Awesome. All right, so let's copy this same bit down here. Eventually, we're going to want to probably break these out into their own templates. All right, so completed projects, we can go to this one, and it has the title correctly. First one again, and bootstrapping Astrocasts. So I think I probably want that slugifier to behave a little differently. So I want it to be all lowercase. Slugify lowercase equals false. Convert slug to lowercase. Should be false. It's interesting. I think this is probably from before. There we go. That was manually set, so now it's actually lowercase, as I'd expect. All right. Cool, there we go. So everything's working as expected, which is good. And then let's go ahead and go to the project page, and just for fun, let's just list the title there. There we go. So we got the title name, bootstrapping Astrocasts. Cool. So it's using the URL scheme that we were kind of looking for, which is awesome. We could probably put our if project.description is not empty, we can put our description to and if div and just so we know if it's actually doing it or not. There we go. All right, so there is no description for Mud Skipper, nothing for this one, and this one has nothing as well. So let's go ahead and add a description here. Cool. All right, so it's actually showing it correctly. Awesome. All right, so it looks like we're actually a little past our time for tonight, so I think I'm probably going to call this session good to go. Thanks for joining, and hopefully very soon we'll be getting these older episodes published so that everyone can catch up on them if they haven't been watching them. Thank you very much, and have a good night.